Welcome back to Dat Build. Today I'll be working on the front end section after finally finishing off this corner here, and now putting all of this back on and hoping that I've not ballsed up drilling the frame out. So firstly, if you're new to the channel, I do invite you to like, subscribe, and check the notification bell so you can keep up to date with everything going on. Yeah, so some time back, even though it's only a couple of episodes, but some time back for me, I finally got this on and drilled all the holes. So it is actually mounted. All the bolts, even though not secure and one of them completely out of whack, are actually through and into the rebar reinforcement tube things that I've added to it. Yeah, there was one little problem that I didn't really give too much thought about until after I'd done the job, and that was of course ensuring that it's actually in the right spot. I kind of eyed the whole situation because not really having firm lines or anything like that, this thing is just a hodgepodge mess, and it still is. I haven't really tended to that problem yet, but the bigger issue being is that I don't know if this is actually in the right spot. It may need to come forward, maybe an inch or two, which is a problem. So what I have to do is more or less mount this back onto this so that it protrudes out and under, bolt this back onto here, and then ensure that the very top section of this is in line with the front section of this, so that when there's actually a plate against it, which the original one I just chopped up into pieces, it was completely useless. I have to recreate that, but it needs to basically be perfectly in line. And I don't think it's going to be. I think this is going to be too far back. And I can't simply pack that out because it means that if this isn't lining up, the whole body is shifted backwards too far. So nothing's going to line up. When the body sits back on, it might be fouling something. So I've basically got to do this over if I've actually done this wrong the first time, which I honestly believe I have, which, yeah, I mean, again, this is the first time I've done a major build like this, so small thoughts keep coming after the fact I've actually done something. But anyway, so this weighs a ton. That isn't much lighter. I'm gonna have to get this thing on the ground. So as always with this project, it is 2 steps forward, 1 massive leap backwards. So the newest problem I've come across is partly due to me, partly due to the poor build of this thing here, the very slack way it's been built. Luckily, the main thing that I was worried about isn't actually an issue, which is the front end section. So where I had that original tub support beam, which I cut out and I'm going to rebuild something far better, the issue was that I didn't think that the A-frame section underneath was going to be in line with the 2 arms or the entire steering rack assembly. Luckily it is. I don't know how I pulled that off, but luckily it is. But when the A-frame is attached to the top section, it pushes the whole thing out. And I do remember way back when that on undoing this top section here, these were flexing. They were basically being bowed outwards. So whether this at the bottom is far too thick, or this is not to the right width, or the metal flexed when it was actually being built, or not aligned properly, who knows? There's a lot wrong with this space frame. But the problem is now, I don't really know which way to go about it, because the space frame with the tub on, everything met up well enough. When I've actually drilled these holes and redone the measurements and everything, this A-frame wasn't on. So I was going by this top section being taut, and then this bottom section potentially being a bit narrower at the bottom, which I didn't really see visually. But it's very obvious now when I'm going to put this A-frame back on, I had so much left before it would fit in. And weirdly enough also, it seems to be side appropriate, so I can only have this installed this way round. When I was on the other side, like you saw before, it was too far forward, so I couldn't actually line it up. It's still a real stretch to get it to line up now, and even still, one of the bolts will not go in properly. So it just does my head in. It really does. How can they bodge this so badly in the first place? And there's three or four of these cars out there. One that's fully registered on the road, everything. Man, I'd love to see what this thing looks like underneath. So at least now I know that's done. That is really nicely sorted from front to back, either side, spot on. Couple of mil maybe, worst case scenario. That can be easily rectified. So I am massively thrilled with that result. The fact that that is sorted, which was a big hold up. Now I'm on to a new hold up though, and that is going to be figuring out what I do with this. And I honestly think I've just got to, God, I think I've got to add metal, because I'm so close to the end. And I do know that on the old setup with the really small bolts, and I've gone for substantially bigger boys here just to ensure that it ain't going to go anywhere, it needs more surface area. So what I might have to do is re-measure this up, but be ever so cautious, because I can't shift it too far from that front section. So whether I bolt that front section up and then work off that, and then work on the back section, and then try to get this front as close as possible. And then if I find that one side is a little too shy, or too overbearing on one side, then I might just have to shave off the A-frame sections underneath and just kind of bring them in a bit, so it pushes that couple of mil over on the bottom side, which then rectifies the top section as well. So there's still a lot of fiddling around with this space frame, and I thought I was well past this now. I thought it was going to be a bolt up. Well, I didn't actually think that at first, because I thought I'd stuff the front end. I didn't, thankfully, but there's still a problem. So we're not there yet. I was so close, but getting closer, kind of. 2024 has just been a thrill ride, and this has really added to the fun factor. So yeah, that's it for now, I guess. So I was hoping to get a bit more done. I thought it'd be a lot further in, and this wouldn't have been a new problem, but it is. So therefore, that's for another episode. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Like, subscribe, comment below, etc. If you've got any ideas of how to rectify this, please comment below, because my brain can only go so far. But anyway, until next time guys, cheers.